God, this is so... Are we good? Okay. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us here today. My name is Shruti Prakash Joshi, and I am Senior Manager, Media Relations and Issues Management at TransLink. Before we begin, I would like to acknowledge that we are all gathered here and on the unceded and traditional territories of the Halkomelem, Semyahu, and the Squamish peoples. We have two speakers and a series of demonstrations today. We will begin with remarks from Sani Zain, President and General Manager of British Columbia Rapid Transport Company, that is BCRTC. Our second speaker today will be Michael McDaniel, President and General Manager of Coast Mountain Bus Company, popularly known as CMBC. Following this, we will have a short Q&A session. After the Q&A session, there will be a series of demonstrations from our experts who will demonstrate some key measures taken during inclement weather to keep our services running. I will now invite Sani Zain to give his remarks.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone, on a wintry morning. Very appropriate. It's my pleasure to welcome you all to SkyTrain's main operations and maintenance center. This is where our talented team ensures that the SkyTrain system runs smoothly every single day, including in winter. We all know winter brings its own unique challenges. Every year, we develop a snow plan to help us deal with that challenge. Our snow plan is our methodical approach to be ready for whatever Mother Nature throws at us. We know that every storm is different in terms of duration, temperature, and humidity. Other factors, such as time of day, is it during the peak or overnight? All these things factor into our response. Every winter, we take our lessons learned, we apply them for the next winter readiness. This year, we're enhancing our winter readiness in several key areas, starting with enhanced training. For example, we have trained more staff members this year to use our de-icing train. The train plays a critical role in how we prepare for winter. The train is fitted with a special solution to reduce snow and ice buildup. We'll demonstrate that for you this morning. We're also taking steps to ensure the readiness of our heat tracing system, which keeps our rails in the best possible condition during winter storms, as well as refining strategies to safely hold or suspend service when needed according to conditions. We've identified the importance of having boots on the ground. The importance of people cannot be overstated. So we have our staff deployed at SkyTrain stations. They typically go to the locations and the stations where historically we've encountered the most challenges with snow and ice conditions. At those stations, our staff are ready to provide updated communications to our customers. They also provide snow clearing services on our platforms, our walkways, and the trains when they pass through. As you know from previous years, our efforts to clear snow from SkyTrain doors have been very effective in reducing disruptive frozen door incidents on the system. When necessary, our SkyTrain attendants are also ready to attend each train to provide visual guidance on track intrusions. They're also ready to manually drive the trains should the need arises. We always work very closely with TransLink Communications to provide our customers with the latest updates on service conditions across the system. And of course, we work closely with our colleagues at Coast Mountain Bus to provide bus bridges should the needs arise. At the end of the day, the safety of our customers and our staff is our top priority. Winter can be challenging. We'll continue to do everything we can to make sure our customers can rely on SkyTrain. We always like to thank our customers for their patience and understanding during challenging storm events. Every day, we want all our customers to get to their destinations safely, and we want our SkyTrain team members to also be safe at work and on their journeys to and from work. Once again, thank you for attending today, and I will now turn it over to Mike McDaniel from Coast Mountain Bus.
Thanks, Sani. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming today on, yes, what is feeling like a bit of a winter morning this morning. Now, every winter brings a new set of challenges for the transit system. You've heard Sani talk about some of them from a SkyTrain perspective. What you'll hear now is that, of course, things are well underway for planning for CMBC as well to keep delivering safe and reliable bus service for all the customers of this region. So winter weather in Metro Vancouver, as you know, can be unpredictable, and we need to stay nimble throughout the region to make sure that we can respond to those changing conditions when they come. The planning every year starts in the fall, and it started this past fall where we work with our municipalities, making sure we're aligned on all of the priority road clearing areas of their municipalities. I'm happy to say that work is now complete. But of course, the weather will change at some point. We will have the temperatures drop, the snow will start falling. One of the first things that we look at on road is pulling our 60-foot articulated buses off, replacing them with 40-footers, as those buses respond better in that sort of weather. The second thing we do, and we've been doing this for a couple of years now, as you know, is around our tire socks. We look at installation of tire socks on some routes, serving Burnaby Mountain, as well as some on the North Shore and in Vancouver, where hills and traction are a little bit more of an issue. Speaking of Vancouver, for our trolley buses, to keep them running smoothly in freezing temperatures, anti-icing solution can be spread on the wires, and in some cases we'll use brass cutters as well at the tops of the poles that can cut any ice that forms on those wires. You'll see a little bit more of that in our demonstrations a little bit later this morning. In regards to our handy dart service, when severe weather hits, we actually have 2 staff members on each vehicle. That way, one staff member can focus on safely delivering our clients and our customers from door to door. The other one can focus on the roadway and the vehicle management. So as always, we are doing updates to our planning each year. One of the notable parts of this year is we're increasing our staffing levels in what we call Transit Communications Center. This is our TCOM, and that was an outcome of a renovation that we've just completed in that facility. And lastly, CMBC is testing a different type of bus tire this year, the Michelin Grip D. Roughly 1/3 of our bus fleet, about 500 buses, will be equipped with these tires, expanding on a pilot that we did on just a few buses last winter on Mount Seymour. You'll hear more of that in our demonstration in a few minutes as well. So in conclusion, I just want to state CMBC is committed to ensuring that we're prepared as possible for this winter, keeping again the safety and the comfort of our customers and our employees at the forefront of everything that we do. I also want to thank you for coming here today to help us continue to inform all of the customers that we have across this region that depend on public transit every single day, and there are many of them. Thank you very much, and I'll turn it back over to Shruti. Thank you.
We'll now take questions. Seni, can I ask you to please come back to the podium for questions? If you have any questions, my colleague Dan has got a microphone. Please make sure that you let him know if you have a question, and please do speak into the microphone so that it's really clear for our speakers. Any questions at this time? Michelle, CTV, go ahead, please.
Hi there. So you talked about getting new tires. So how are these different from the tires that are used now? And are they going to make a difference? Like, I mean, we see these buses stuck on hills all the time or sliding out of control. We saw that last year. What difference will these tires make, and what is the cost of them?
Right. Okay. So I'll just take those in the order you asked. So these tires, this is a Michelin Grip D tire, as I mentioned. That's the name of them. Our current tires also Michelin tires, so we're getting from the same supplier. Both of these tires that we have are the same rated tire, so they're a 3-peak mountain snowflake tire. But the new tires that we're demonstrating today, as well as piloting over this winter, have a little more of an aggressive tread on them. In the pilot that we did, as I mentioned, up at Mount Seymour, they performed well. But really what we need to do with a fleet of 1,800 buses is make sure that we can do a test that's a little bit larger than that. So we've got about 500 buses that will be equipped with these tires this winter. Many of them have been put on already. That's a process we're doing right now. And the cost is the same cost, but what we want to do over the next about 6 to 12 months is really test them in all conditions, not just snowy conditions. We want to test our tire because it runs year-round, dry conditions, rainy conditions, as well as snowy conditions. So that's why we're running the pilot with so many buses over about a 12-month period.
Okay, and so just to clarify, though, you said 500 buses are going to be equipped with these new tires. So what is the cost for those 500 buses to have these new tires on them?
Well, there's no additional cost. We would normally what our procedure is throughout the year is when we get to this time of the year, we do what's called treading up our tires. So we will remove treads that are lower in nature, and then put a higher tread, mostly a new tire on. Instead of putting the existing Michelin tires on, we'll put this new Tread D tire on. And so there's no additional cost to do that. It's the same cost for the tire. It's just a different tread on the same Three Peak Mountain Snowflake tire.
Michelle, do you have any more questions? Emily, go ahead.
Hi, we ask you this every year, but given the winters we've seen, especially in 2022 when we saw sort of the city come to a halt, why can't we just outfit some tires? I know it is a cost thing too, but why can't we just outfit some buses with actual winter snow tires?
Yeah, okay, so just to explain that a little bit, the tires that we have right now, I'm talking about two different tires, so I'm going to separate it. The existing tires that we have right now are the highest rated tire you can get for a transit bus. They are a Three Peak Mountain Snowflake tire. They're a winter rated tire. The new tires that we're demonstrating are the same rating. They're just a different tread. And so we think that the more aggressive tread will perform better in the snowy conditions. That's what our pilot last year told us. But we wanted to make it broader than just a few buses up Mount Seymour, because we need to learn how they're going to perform across the region, different topographies, across, of course, all the different cities that we service. And then we wanted to do it across more buses as well to get a feedback on how it responds. So there isn't a conventional what you would think of as a snow tire that you would have for your residential vehicle. That doesn't exist for transit vehicles. So this is the highest rated tire. Both of them are the highest rated tire you can get for transit vehicles. And we're just going to see how this new one performs, and then we'll be able to report back on that when the pilot's done.
Any more questions, Emily? Are there any other questions at this time for Mike or Seni? Michelle?
Sorry, just one more. You talked about how every year you guys learn lessons when it goes through the winter. So specifically, what lessons were learned last year that will be applied this year?
Thank you. Several lessons last year. We had a storm in early November, or actually maybe mid-November. It got us to be much more cognizant of readiness sooner, because last year's winter storm in November was unusually early. So we've moved up our readiness, and our winter planning, as Mike mentioned, started in early fall. So sometimes it's about timing. We've also always monitoring which stations and which sections of our track are being most impacted. So for example, the approaches to the Sky Bridge and some of our major nodes like Columbia, Lougheed, Commercial Broadway. So our staffing deployment is always evolving based on what we learned from a previous winter. On the technology side, we always monitor how well the system is standing up to, was it freezing rain, low temperatures, and snow conditions. And so we focus our clearing efforts and deployment of clearing staff where we notice the system needs the most attention.
Sorry, just
So I'll just mention, as mentioned in my speech, we talked about transit communications. It really is the kind of central nervous system for the bus service. It's where all communication comes in from the buses, from our staff out in the field, and then it's where our communication starts to our customers. And I think, as always, each year we want to try to communicate quicker and with more detail, more specific detail for our customers that are wondering what's happening in the transit system. We've wanted to add more staff to that area. We haven't been able to in the past because of just constraints of the infrastructure that we had. With the completion of our renovation in that area, we have the ability to do that, and we have a plan to do that. So we've learned that the quicker we can communicate and the better we can communicate to customers, obviously that helps them on their journey to make the decisions they need to.
Sorry, last question. I think you guys mentioned that some of these tires were used on a smaller scale last year on just a few buses. You said, so I'm wondering, were any of these used on buses that were still getting stuck on hills, or were they able to sort of get through where the other tires simply could not?
Yeah, so this was a very isolated pilot last year on Mount Seymour that was very targeted just to there. And we really were just testing them on how they were doing on inclines, on flats, depending on how much snow was coming. So it wasn't in normal revenue service as a pilot, whereas this year, a big giant leap forward, 500 buses in revenue service starting this winter, and we're looking forward to seeing how they perform.
Are there any other questions at this time? We will then go to demonstrations, if there aren't any. I guess there aren't any questions, so we'll begin with the demonstrations. Our first demonstration will be the winter readiness bus.